Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio Town. So we are immediately going to get in the car and rush over to Colbury because there is a disaster in progress. The system is full of plastic. I accidentally broke some rules of the rail system that I have, and we've ended up with plastic in the trying to be put into the steam engines. The reason is that I didn't put any filters on the train that supplies coal because it was the first one and I couldn't be bothered, and I didn't put any smart inserters on the unloading area. These two problems combined led to plastic getting into the train and getting out of it and being unloaded over here instead of coal. So I'm quickly going to fix the problem. I've already got the filters in place and I've emptied out the plastic from the train, so now we're going to properly put in the system over here. Now, people were asking me at the time that I set this up why I was having the inserters unload immediately onto the belt. It was because I was lazy. I couldn't be bothered getting it going into buffer chests and having that all being sorted at the time, so I didn't bother. Now I'm going to actually get it sorted, and we're going to clear away all of this plastic and get it back to where it belongs. So yeah, this was going on for a good while last episode, and I had no idea. I think pretty much since the time that I last left Colbury that started happening. So quite a lot has built up, over like 1,000 plastic, I think, but it's not too difficult to clear it away because the boilers, which are now all starved of coal, can extract the coal from the belt, so I can just get all of the plastic gathered up. I've also got a storage chest I had to put down to clear out a bit of inventory space so I can get on with stuff. So we've grabbed all the stuff from that, and now we're going to make our way up to Frackham so that we can unload all the plastic. Seeing as we're here in Colbury, I'll also resupply on coal, stone and all that stuff. Maybe hop over to the concrete production and resupply there as well. And then we can go and do a bit of flooring over in the new advanced circuit town. So off we go, stopping off at the concrete stuff. We've got a full 10 stacks of it. I think we might have 10 stacks of stone as well. That's what I usually go for. That gets like half of an outpost done. And plenty of rails and stuff as well. So here we are, and you can see the system's pretty empty. It couldn't keep up with having to load so much plastic into a different train. And there's actually, even though I empty out the plastic into the system, I've still got like half of the plastic left, showing just how long this was going on for, with me having absolutely no idea. It's caused a bit of an issue because we are very rapidly building up our supply of heavy and light oil. And once that builds up entirely, everything will shut down. What I'm hoping to do, sooner rather than later, is get Blue Signs operational, do the advanced oil processing research, and then we can start cracking the oil and fixing that problem. Anyway, while we're here, we're going to do a bit of flooring work. There were a couple of bits of stone that needed to be put in still when we were last here, so we'll get those in place and then we can leave. Dodging the trains. This happens quite a few times in this episode where a train ends up nearly hitting me, and I have to sort of abort my movements. But yes, we make our way up to the advanced circuit town, where we are going to do a little bit more flooring. I found that the advanced circuits have now built up, which is an excellent sign. The 5 stacks in the train are fully built up. There is still a little bit of space left in the storage chests, but sooner rather than later, this should all build up and we'll be good. At that point, we'll just be waiting for Blue Signs to start being done. At which point we can actually start using this stuff. We'll also be able to use it once we have the research done to make a bunch of other stuff, like proper furnaces and things like that. The good thing about that being that once we have some electric furnaces, we know we don't have to worry about delivering stone to so many different places, including up here, which at the moment I'm manually delivering. I do need to fix that, but we should fairly soon get this upgraded to the electric furnaces, and then we won't have to worry about it at all. Anyway, I'm sorting out the fiddly bits of the flooring around the station itself, the transitions from the stone brick to the concrete. It's not perfect, it's sort of zigzaggy, but I'm fine with it. I'm just going to let that happen. It still looks fairly nice, and I'm sort of learning how to arrange it properly and have a consistent design. So we just spotted there was an attack there. It was over in the iron mining area of Chipton, which is where most of the attacks we've been having recently have taken place. And after a quick check of the map, I see that the pollution has been expanding quite rapidly recently, possibly due to the issue with plastic, but also the fact that we're making the advanced circuit should be sort of getting things moving again. Chipton will, of course, be operating now, trying to make circuits to keep this supplied. So the factories are once again moving, and that means the pollution is once again spreading, and biter bases are once again getting in range. So we're going to have to start dealing with them once again using the turret creep method, and as soon as we get blue signs, we're going to see about getting some new military research so that we can deal with them a bit better, maybe get some tanks and things like that. So I've used up all of my concrete and my stone, and before I leave I just fix this bit of this belt here. As many people pointed out, I had completely forgotten to hook up the last assembler along that line to the belt, and I then put a turret in the way, so I've just fixed that. And then we're going to leave, crashing into the wall as we go, of course. I should probably just widen them from like 4 to 6 instead, and then I've got a lot less chance of actually crashing into them, but who knows. But we're going to go down to the location of the most recent attack. No damage was done as far as I can tell, but I haven't been over there in a bit, so it's a good idea to check. On the way, we stop off in Chipton, in the main area of it, where we find that there is not enough copper. So I go to build some more copper smelting to help keep up the speed of electronic circuits so that the advanced circuit production is not affected. But I realise that I don't have any stone bricks and I can't even make any more furnaces. So I end up just reinstating the previous stuff and leaving it for later. We'll sort it out when we actually have the materials handy. I also have a quick check of the copper mining operation. It's all fine. A couple of mines have run out. There are plenty left. We do not need to worry about it. So over to the iron mining operation. There's a little bit of damage on one of the turrets from some previous attack, and small amounts of ammo have been used up in all the other ones. So that all seems fine, and I turn my attention to the filtering system that I've got going here, which, as you can see, is built up with coal, at least at the front. The back is all iron because mostly iron is being produced, but because very little coal is actually being required, very little is being put into the system, and it's sort of blocking up everything. So what I decided to do is make some tweaks and increase the capacity for coal so that things start moving quicker, because I want to get this mining done. The reason we're filtering it now is so that when the iron mining in like at the north of this deposit runs out, we can expand down and not have to worry about overlapping any coal anywhere. So that should speed things up a lot, at least temporarily, and get a lot more stuff emptied out. And now we're going to go and deal with the biter bases, because there are a lot of them now that are all on the edge of the pollution range, and we need to start paying attention to them. So there's this little one here, just one base, easy enough to deal with. Just circle around it so we avoid any melee attacks, so we do take quite a bit of range damage. But we deal with it in very short order. There's a larger one over here, though. It has 4 spawners. There aren't any medium biters, though, so it seems like it's going to be alright to deal with. But then, after dealing with the first wave of biters, a bunch of mediums turn up and give me a bit of a run for my money. I quickly run away, and before they can catch up with me, build a turret to deal with them. And then I have some time to repair my car, go in for another attack. We did a fair bit of damage, so we can probably just continue with our technique of circling around and trying to get as much damage into the bases as possible. This time around we managed to take out, I think, 2 of the spawners before we have to run back, chased by many biters. It all seems to be medium biters and normal spitters now. But yeah, it's interesting that there weren't any medium biters initially. Either the base has been around for a while, which doesn't seem likely because I thought I dealt with the biters in this area before, or the biter aggro actually reduced for a while, which I believe it can do. But then once I attacked that base just to the north of it, they got a bit angrier again, and medium biters started spawning. I'm not really sure of the specifics. It's probably more likely to be that it's an older base, but that's what my thinking was at the time. Anyway, quick bit of scouting. There's quite a few decently sized bases, including some worms, so I have to be a bit careful. I take out these 2 little bases here because they're far away that I don't have to worry about it. And then we're going to switch to turret creeping. I quickly run off, though, and grab this turret that's back here, because we want to have our full complement and all our ammo handy for this. We're then going to park up and start moving towards the base. Because it's gone dark, I can't really see where things are, so I just start moving towards it blindly, leaving quite large gaps between the turrets, because as it turns out I start turret creeping a fair distance before we actually get in range of the biters, but eventually we start getting into their aggro range. I start sort of reducing the distance of the steps each time, which seems to be a good idea, because there is a short period of time where the turrets don't have any ammo in them because I haven't yet had a chance to put it in, and the biters have time to do a bit of damage initially. People have suggested using maybe the autofill mod, and I think I probably will start using mods in some future series. For now, this one's going to stay vanilla. I'm not going to add any mods in sort of midway, I don't think. But there we go, we've dealt with the base. I think there was either a medium worm or a big worm. It was probably a medium. I'm not really sure. But we've dealt with that fairly easily. And then this one over here, this is a bit more difficult because it has two big worms, and they're quite close to each other, so we're going to have to be very careful about how we approach this. I decided that initially I'm going to go and resupply, because we don't want to be running into a base like this with sort of minimum supplies. We'll also hop into Chipton while we're on our way back, just a quick checkup of how things are going. Make sure that the filtration system modifications haven't broken everything, and put coal where it shouldn't be. That all looks fine, so we'll just continue on. Resupplying very nicely on ammo. We've got 2 stacks in the car and 5 stacks on our person. That should be more than enough to deal with any sort of base that's sort of in range now. Saying that, there is a very large base in the very south that is looking a little bit concerning. I don't really want to tackle it quite yet. We'll probably try and get some better technology before we go for it, but we can't hold it off forever because pollution is going to continue growing, and it's not going to get any better for a good long while. Anyway, we'll start turret creeping, and we're going to be very careful with this. We're approaching from the north, so the first thing we encounter is the first big worm, and with any luck we can deal with that without the second big worm getting involved, because I think if 2 big worms are shooting at the same turret at once, I can't repair it quick enough. I'm not completely sure about that, but we managed to do it fairly easily. The turret that deals with the big worm ends up in range of the other big worm, leading to a slightly hairy moment where there are 2 worms attacking, but that quickly is dealt with, and then we can go back to our normal method, continuing to step them forward until we're in range of the worms and we can easily take them all out. I think there was a medium and a small one as well, and then the remaining bases we can just take out by hand. When there's only a couple of bases left and you have turrets backing you up, it becomes very easy to deal with any problems. So there we go, we've cleared that away, and now we're going to go deal with some bases in the north. Very much the same tactic, turret creeping towards them. So let's discuss the name of the advanced circuit town. I've had many suggestions, and let's read them out. So we have, as well as Silicon Valley, the original one that we proposed, we have Silport City 14, though that's spelt with an S because it's the chemical what do you call it? Chemical notation or something for silicon. Syrian Bay, Siliconberg, Siliconberg, and then Siliberg, Silica Valley, Silicon Foundries, Silicon Coast, Silicon Flats, Silicashire, Sands, Sandringham, Sandydale, Sandybridge, Sandwich, Sandyvale, Reddington, Reading, Red Hills, Redport, Lordinatere, Rouge, whatever, French red, Redborton, Port Redditch, Redborough, Chipham, Chipford, Greater Chipton, New Chipton, Circuiton, Circuit City, Circuit Lane, Turing, Turingham, Turingdale, Colossington, Calculon, Bletchley, Silverstone, Cybertron, Pentium Point, Abstradfield, Wozniak, Skylake, Bentwires, Northbridge, Digital Plains, Roundabout. Somebody said Roundabout. I think they were suggesting a name. I'm not actually 100% sure, but they just said the word Roundabout. Norgate, Conberg, Spectrum, much wiring on the boards, of course, as well as Coilum on boards, Advance Run, Harrington, Lodgewick Gate, Port Glass, Copper Crossing, and Diode Alley. And in a moment, I will tell you the name that I chose from that list. We're back now in Colbury, having dealt with a couple more bases. Once again, resupplying on coal, stone, and concrete. I've remembered that there are a bunch of places that I need to be supplying with coal. I keep forgetting that there are still a couple of areas that I'm hand delivering coal to. It's not a good idea, especially when trains can do one of the jobs. But I'm going to quickly sort that out. Also resupplied once again on concrete, so we once again have the 10 stacks of concrete, 10 stacks of stone, and we'll add a bunch of coal into the main base here for the iron production. There's not much going on there nowadays, but we still need to make sure it's supplied. I put a good 12 stacks into the supply, as well as resupplying all the steel furnaces, which are not hooked up to that belt system. But we've run out of coal, and there's not that much built up yet in Colbury, so I decided to deal with some of the stuff over in Chipton. This will once again help the filtration system that we've got going there by emptying out the coal. And it means that the limiting factor will be iron, which is steadily being used up, so that should be fine. And once we've resupplied ourselves, I think we've got a good 10 stacks, we'll make our way back to the main base. And once we've checked up on things there, we'll move on to the advanced circuit town, which also needs some coal, because we have the copper smelting going on there. On our way there, though, we'll stop and deal with the remaining stone laying that has to be done over here. We didn't quite finish it before because we ran out of stone. And we've also got this junction up here that needs to be floored as well. So we'll carry on that. We're also going to do these end bits here. I'm going to have some nice sort of capping off points for the end of the rails there. And then we're going to grab a bunch of concrete and do the concreting inside the outpost itself. See if we can get this finished. I'm not going to concrete the actual, like the copper bit, because that seems like, well, things line up nicely so that I shouldn't. And also it seems a bit weird putting flooring underneath ore deposits. It doesn't quite make sense. We'll also finish off the corners there on that junction. And then we'll grab the remaining like 500 concrete that we have and try and finish this off using the biggest brush size possible. Unfortunately, we are missing, I think, 7 bits of concrete. However, we can remedy this by putting in the name plaque. So we grab a bunch of stone. Also, I put the coal into the chest that we came to supply. And then we put the name plaque in. We have the enough concrete handy to fill in the gap, and then write the name. And the name that I have chosen is Redport. I quite like the idea of calling it a port because we're right by some water. It makes a lot of sense. And I like the idea of calling it something to do with sand, but Sandport didn't work. I decided to go for Redport because, of course, the circuits we are making are red, and I often call them red circuits. So it stands to reason that the people in the town itself might well call them red circuits as well as all the people in other towns. That name was suggested by Domino Dude 55, who suggested tons of excellent names for a bunch of towns that don't even exist yet. So we may be seeing his suggestions in future towns as well. Anyway, we're now going to clear away some biters up in the northwest. These ones aren't quite in pollution range, but they're very close. In fact, it's hard to tell, but the pollution might have just reached them, so I'm going to deal with them anyway. The first one I managed to do with just the car, but I decided to go for turret creeping for the remaining 2. This one's not too bad. It's only a couple of spawners, I think, and there's no worms to deal with. In fact, I probably could have just run at that one without having to worry about it, but I went for turret creeping just for the purpose of safety. And then we'll move down to this much larger one over here. This one is full of spawners, but I don't think there are any worms. Off the top of my head, I don't remember there being worms. But there are plenty of spitters to be annoying. So that you have, like, they seem to stand at the exact range of the turrets, which worries me because perhaps the larger spitters are actually like longer range than the turrets. I didn't think that was the case, but it seems like that might. I mean, if the range does increase as the spitters grow, then that might well be a thing. But anyway, we make our way in. We have one turret deal with almost all the spawners single-handedly, and then there's a couple more just along here that we have to deal with as well. Then we'll hoover up all of the artifacts, repair up our various damaged turrets, and we'll make our way back. But before we go, I am going to do a little bit of rail extending towards this iron deposit that we have up here. We're probably going to build an iron smelting town here, but I'm not going to sort of announce the naming competition yet. I'm just going to... I'll do that when we actually have something in place, because there's always a chance that I'll get distracted and go off do something else, and then I've got a name for a town that doesn't even exist yet. So we'll make sort of the framework of it, remind ourselves for future reference exactly where it's going to be going. We're making sure to avoid this oil deposit, but we should also manage to not go over the top of the iron deposit. And then we'll go to our sign in Redport and say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time. So, after finishing that episode, I realised that we were short by over a minute and a half, so I thought I'd give you a little bit extra on the end. This is an outtake from the recording of the gameplay for this episode, where I died. Occasionally this does happen, where I die like 15 minutes into an autosave, and I just end up replaying the same 15 minutes again, and it's rubbish. So, I just cut out this bit, but I thought I'd show you, the actual moment of dying. So this base, I dealt with it easily the time that you saw, but the time before, I did my normal circling tactic and then crashed into a bunch of biters, got stuck, they blew up my car, and then they blew up me. So that went well, and well done to me. But we'll not finish the series there, we'll just start from an autosave and continue on.